I, Jessica Pinkstone, liked cats. Shock horror. I want to preface this, and we all love a good preface, by saying that I wanted to hate this movie so badly. From the moment that the trailer came out, I was determined that I was not going to watch this movie and that I was going to hate it, and I wanted it to do badly. I know that makes me sound like a terrible person. I'm really sorry. I promise I'm not usually that hateful. But to me, this movie was just filled with a bunch of celebrities that I don't like, a bunch of celebrities that I think are a-holes, that throughout the whole rest of the year, they're telling the rest of us, the public, that they hate us and that they think that we're scum, and yet they expect that we're going to go spend our hard-earned cash to support their movie and make it really popular. I don't get it. When I heard that it had bombed at the box office, I gotta admit, there was a little negative part of me that got a bit of satisfaction out of that. I know that sounds really bad. Please don't come for me in the comments and tell me what a terrible person that I am. I went and watched a ton of reviews about this movie. I read a bunch of articles about it, and everybody said the same thing. They hated it. It didn't make any sense. There was no plot. They couldn't follow what was going on. Characters were being introduced and then disappearing and not being seen again for the rest of the movie, and they couldn't understand why they would introduce a character just to have the character disappear and not be mentioned again. Nothing made sense. It was torturous to watch. They hated every single thing about it. So after watching all of those reviews, I thought, okay, fine. You won me over. I'll go watch it. You know, you've convinced me. You're saying it's that bad. I have to see for my own eyes. I liked this movie. I liked cats. I, Jessica Pinkstone, liked cats. Shock horror. Now let me explain to you why I liked it. I think that to explain to you why I liked cats, I want to address the things that other reviewers have been saying and what articles have been saying and their negative points that they've taken with the movie, and tell you why I think that they're all so unbelievably wrong. I think that these reviewers are lying to you. Maybe they wanted to hate it even more than I wanted to hate it, and I find that hard to believe because I really wanted to hate it. A lot of people were saying that there was no plot to the movie. In my absolute honest opinion, I think that there was a really easy plot to follow. It wasn't one of those movies where it has a really intricate, kind of subtle plot line and it's like, oh, I think I know what's going on, or I think I got it, or I feel really intellectual because I got what that movie was about. No, this was a really easy plot line. The premise of the movie is that there is this white kitten who's been dumped by a human into this alleyway. You see the guy drop a bag with a cat in it. The cat's wriggling around inside of the bag trying to get out. All the other cats are coming around trying to see what's going on, and then one of the cats slices the bag and the cat springs out. The white kitten springs out. And then they all sing a little song introducing themselves to this new white cat. And a lot of people took issue with that because in the song they're singing about being jellicle cats, and people were saying, well, what's a jellicle cat? Oh my goodness, they didn't even explain what a jellicle is. Jellicle is just a made-up word. You don't have to understand what the definition of the word jellicle is to understand the concept that they're singing about. The song establishes that they call their little gang of cats jellicle cats. That's the name of their gang. They're the jellicle cats. So they're street cats, they're abandoned cats, and they've just named themselves the jellicle cats. What's hard to understand about that? You don't have to have a dictionary that tells you what jellicle means in order to understand that. Like, did you have to have a dictionary explain to you what a muggle was? Okay, well, I guess they did explain in the movie what muggle meant, but you know, there's tons of movies that we've all seen that will use random terminology that is made up by the creators, and you don't have to have previous knowledge of that word to understand what is meant by it. Jellicle cats is the name of their gang of cats. Okay, got it? Okay, let's move on from that one. The major plot line for this movie is that all of the cats are waiting for the Jellicle Ball, which comes around once a year. There is this old cat called Old Deuteronomy, and she holds some power, And she comes around once a year and she holds this Jellicle ball. It's really a competition rather than a ball where they all compete, and she'll pick one cat to be reborn into a new cat life. They've all had suck lives out here on the street, and they're all vying to be reborn into a new cat life. So that's the biggest plot line of the movie and what everything's kind of leading up to. Let's address that people were complaining that new cats were being introduced and then disappearing and not being seen again. And people had a huge issue with that. Let me explain to you how that is so inaccurate. First of all, it's not as though every time a cat has a solo that's the first time you're seeing that cat. You've seen all of the cats in their beginning group song. They have a couple of group songs where all of the cast is together. So you recognize all of those cats when they eventually come up for their solo song. And so they're singing their solo song to this new white cat, and it serves a dual purpose. One, in that they're able to introduce themselves a little more deeply to this new cat. But it's also very well understood from the beginning of the movie that as they're singing these songs to her, they're actually practicing the song that they're going to be singing for this Jellicle Ball competition. Because the old Deuteronomy cat that's going to pick the Jellicle choice to be reborn, she says that she is going to pick a cat based off of their soul and their story and who deserves it the most. And so that's why they're singing about themselves, because they're explaining their story, they're explaining who they are, hoping that she's going to pick them based on their character. That's why they're singing songs. People felt confused about why they were singing songs. To explain to you the bit where people were talking about why cats were disappearing, there's a character that I need to mention, Macavity, and he's the bad cat, he's the mean cat, he's the villain of the movie, right? He really desperately wants to win the Jellicle Ball competition. And so his idea of giving himself the best chance to beat out the competition is to get rid of the competition. And so after each of these cats are singing to the white cat, he comes along after their performance in front of her, and through one or another means, he makes them disappear. So he's supposed to be a magical magician cat, and so he might make them puff, go in a puff of smoke and make them disappear, or make them fall down a hole. He's basically kidnapping these cats after they've finished singing. And it's not as though you have no idea where they are. When he kidnaps these cats, it immediately snaps over to a scene of them appearing on this barge in the middle of the River Thames, his evil lair, I guess. That's where he's keeping all these cats that he's kidnapped throughout the whole rest of the movie. As the movie continues, it frequently flips back to this barge where they're being kept, and you see that he's accumulating these cats, that, oh, there was one and now there's like 4 of them there that he's kidnapped. So at all points throughout the rest of the film, you are absolutely aware of where these other cats have gone. It's not that they're being introduced and then, oh, they have nothing to do with the movie anymore. It's a major part of the plot that they're getting kidnapped, because that's his plan to try to win the Jellicle Ball. How anybody didn't understand it, I don't understand why you don't understand. I don't want to say anything mean, but I really, for anyone to have not understood what was going on there, they'd have to be actively trying not to understand, let's put it that way, to have come out so confused about the plot. Honestly, I think one of the only parts that I didn't like about the film was the Jason Derulo song. I thought that was kind of boring, and the dancing was a little bit robotic, which I was surprised about, because of all of the performances, I was expecting a lot out of his. People said that they didn't think that the movie was funny, and I'll give them that. They had James Corden and Rebel Wilson from Australia as the comedic relief, and it was a little, like, it didn't do anything for me. Like, I get they were trying to be like cute about it, but I don't know, it wasn't that funny, but it wasn't terrible. The other thing that people were saying was that it was overtly sexual. And so I was a bit nervous to watch it, because, call me a prude, but I'm pretty sensitive to that sort of stuff, and I don't like watching movies that have any sort of innuendo or graphic content. I check the parental guide on literally every movie that I watch. I don't know what they were talking about, to be honest. There like were a couple of scenes where cats maybe like rubbed their heads against each other. I don't think it was supposed to be a crazy sexual thing. They were just mimicking the movements that cats do. Cats do that whole like, they like want to rub their head up against you. The one scene that I thought, okay, maybe this is what people were talking about, when they're all getting ready for the Jellicle Ball, when old Deuteronomy arrives and they go into this building and then they have this little weird dance. And it did seem a little bit like weird and twitchy. Maybe that's the kind of orgy people were referring to, but it wasn't like cats humping on each other or anything like that. A huge thing that people had a problem with was the CGI and the fact that they didn't have cat-like faces. Whether it's wrong or right, I totally understand why they didn't give them cat faces. They had spent $100 million on this movie, and I'm certain a lot of that went to paying this absolute star-studded cast that they had. That was what they were hoping was gonna get butts in seats. They were hoping that, oh, your favorite actress, your favorite actor, your favorite singers in this movie, so you'll come see it. They didn't want to cover up those expensive faces. That was what they were hoping was going to be their payday. Now, I'm not saying that they're right in doing that. I'm just saying I understand why they did it. There was one review that I saw that said that Jennifer Hudson's performance was terrible and that she had snot just streaming down her face. It's so disgusting. This person just felt sick watching it. The way that this person had described it, I was expecting it to be as disgusting and horrific as he had suggested. She may have had a little bit of snot. Honestly, it was hard to tell if it was snot or if it was tears that had kind of collected and were streaming down under her nose, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I wasn't grossed out by it, and I'm someone that I don't know what I'm gonna do when I have kids because I'm gonna be really grossed out by diapers. She was trying to put emotion into her performance. Good for her that she connected that much to that song that it would make her cry or have snot. Who cares? Like her character was supposed to be really emotional and destitute. A critique that I have of the movie is that I would have liked them to have played a little more on the character of Grisabella. Am I saying that right? Grisabella? I think that's what her name is. From what I'd heard from other reviews, that character is supposed to be a really important character in the musical version of this. I've not seen the musical. I think it would have been nice to have had a little more of that character because it was such an interesting story. She's this ex-glamour cat and she's now destitute on the street, and the other cats treat her really terribly and they're mean to her and don't want her coming around and shun her from their songs and dances. And so she's just utterly depressed. And spoiler, okay, you turn it off if you don't want to know. She ends up being the Jellicle choice. Her song is the most famous song from the musical. I would have liked them to have done a little more with that character and that storyline, to be honest. Overall, I thought it was a fun, enjoyable movie. I didn't have a problem with it. Not only did I not hate this movie, but I actually liked it. I'm sorry, internet, I didn't hate it. If you feel the same way that I do and you kind of enjoyed this, I'd really like to know about it in the comments because it seems right now that the entire internet hates this movie. I surely can't be the only person on the planet that enjoyed it. If you kind of enjoyed it, let me know. If you liked hearing me rant today, even if it was just because you liked hearing it in my Australian accent, come back for some more, subscribe, like this video, comment down below and let me know what you thought about the film. I think this is a really interesting hot topic right now. At the end of the day, it's a movie. See it, don't see it. It's not going to impact your life in any way. Sure, the movie company has lost out on some money on this one, but I'm pretty sure they're going to get over it. Don't let it affect your life in any way. It's such a trivial, minor thing. But I hope that you guys have a really blessed day, and thank you so much for watching. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!